It is 11 a.m. here on Sunday morning. Always important to know the latest information and know the time when these updates are being made because they can change hour by hour. And at this time at 11 a.m. winds in the center of Milton 65 miles per hour. So a strong tropical storm, but I wouldn't be surprised as we go ahead through Sunday afternoon into the evening that this is going to be a full-on hurricane here in the western Gulf of Mexico. Taking a look at the forecast track, yeah, it's expected by the National Hurricane Center to become a hurricane here on Sunday afternoon through the evening, up to a major hurricane on Monday already, passing just north of the Yucatan Peninsula and then heading off towards the east, staying at that Cat 3 status. Could even get stronger than that if ingredients help develop this even more so before coming on shore just around the Tampa area here in central Florida, then basically running right across I-4 off towards the east. The track has shifted slightly towards the south since the last update, but do remember that cone of air, which things still could waver here over the next few days depending on how this gets picked up and starts traversing off towards the east. Hurricane hunters were flying around here this morning. They did find a pressure even down to 986 millibars, those winds over 60 miles per hour. So just reinforcing this as a strengthening storm system. And no question that this is going to become a hurricane. So where's this going? Well, before we get into the models, let's look at the overall synoptic situation. That's what's happening out here in the broader picture. And we can get an idea before even looking at the guidance of where this is going to head. Mainly because we have the stationary boundary right here, which attached to that is a reason why we kind of have this nor'easter set up for the first coast here in northeast Florida, southeast Georgia, and also plenty of rainfall out ahead of our storm. So if all of Florida is looking at scattered showers today, not directly associated with this, but more so this other kind of wave that's pushing overhead and the interaction with a high towards the north, why most of the country is dry weather. So that high pressure is going to keep our storm system south, and it's just basically going to run like this on the southern extent of that stationary boundary and off towards Florida here. So without even looking at models, we have a general idea of where this is going. We know that front's there and that high is back towards the north. We also know that this is moving over very, very warm sea surface temperatures, mid to high 80s, near 90 in some spots in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. That every degree warmer is just that much more energy to allow the storm system to strengthen. So this becoming a major hurricane at Cat 3 or more, yeah, definitely possible. Looking at our spaghetti plots, that's a different type of models here. And the good news is, well, I shouldn't say good news. Good news for Jacksonville. For the rest of Florida, not great news. This has been trending further towards the south. Even better news for Tampa area if this does go just towards your south and puts you on the north side of the storm. But that means places like Fort Myers would take the brunt of it. So you kind of look at this as the consensus, but there is still a pretty wide range here all the way from north of Tampa down there towards South Florida. This is those wind arrival times, that being when you could start seeing those initial tropical storm strength conditions ahead of the storm. But keep in mind, this is just for the core of the storm. Indirectly for parts of northeast Florida, due to that northeast monsoon and those winds setting up ahead of this, through the day here on Tuesday, we're going to be looking at those winds picking up with possible gusts upwards of 30 to 40 miles per hour and even some coastal flooding. Excuse me. All right, so let's talk about our model comparisons here. So we're going to get into the models now. And this is good as far as confidence is concerned. We have basically the GFS and the ECMWF right on top of each other. That is a consensus between some of our big global models here. Also the intensity from the global forecasting system, that is the American model, being a bit stronger than the European. I think I would lean more towards the intensity with that though. Being a major hurricane versus a strong tropical storm or Cat 1. I mean, I think that model's actually probably pick up on it. So we watch this come on shore. The GFS still wobbling right around the Tampa area, then running across I-4. The consensus with both of this guidance, though, really does still put Central Florida under the most of the impacts. But notice on the northern side of this, even though this passes south of Jacksonville on the first coast, we kind of see those winds wrapping around. And even starting here on Monday, onshore winds. Over towards Tuesday, the winds continue to pick up and they peak on Wednesday afternoon heading into the evening. Now this means multiple days of this long northeasterly fetch area piling up the waters in a lot of our inlets across the first coast and into the St. Johns River, which means every high tide likely going to be seeing those water levels higher and higher than where they should be at high tide. And that's what we're talking about with that threat of coastal flooding. So places like right along the St. Johns River, your coastal areas, the Matanzas Inlet and St. Augustine, I wouldn't be surprised if we do start seeing some low-lying flooding as this kicks on by. And then heading into Wednesday night through early Thursday morning, we're going to see some of those stronger rain bands and actually the higher winds from the storm, especially in the southern counties across the first coast, stretching all the way out there towards I-4. That was the GFS. We're going to quickly look at the ECMWF, another one of those models I was talking about. At least with this one, it does push this further towards the south. We're still seeing that pressure gradient out ahead of it. There's still plenty of wobbling here this forecast track could do. One thing I am confident about, though, is most of Florida is going to see some heavy rainfall. The further south you go towards central Florida, that's where we could talk about those totals up near a foot. I think across the first coast, 5 to 10 inches, 10 inches likely in those southern counties. Clay, Putnam, Flagler, southern areas of St. Johns County. That's where you're going to be seeing winds gusting for Jacksonville up to 60, but I think for some of the areas towards the south, 70, 75 plus possible there with that storm surge, tidal flooding, heavy rain, street flooding, and the broader pictures of things. Other important things you need to know is minor flooding in the St. Johns, of course, at high tide, but also trees that have been weakened due to Helene could be additionally damaged. Even on Tuesday, you have those trees that weren't knocked down during Helene, but they are almost there. All they need is a little extra nudge. That's something we're worried about. Preps should be done by Monday. Heading into Tuesday as well, you could probably still get some stuff done. But at that point, if you still have debris laying around after Helene, any lawn furniture, things like that, have that cleaned up. There's not much you could do when the winds get crazy high, but you can at least, make those small preparations that will make a big difference as to if you have flying debris in your neighborhood or anything like that. Those winds are going to increase though Monday over towards Tuesday, coming in the northeast. Here's our storm way down here towards the south and west. Watch as it comes on shore just around the Tampa area based on this particular guidance. But look how the winds fairly high indicated there. That's 70 plus in the dark purple. Just off the coast here, look at those gusts. That's what we're talking about, even on Wednesday morning, seeing that interaction with the high towards the north and even far away from the center of circulation, there's going to be those broader impacts. So let's talk about this and break this county by county for the first coast, not specifically for those landfall areas towards the south, but we're talking about around Jacksonville. Wednesday night through Thursday morning, gusts could be up to 45 miles per hour, some scattered showers for places like Lake City. Maybe even southern areas of Union Bradford could see some gusts even higher than that. For Ware, Charle, and Brantley, I know in Ware County we still have power outages. Schools are off in some areas here, still because of Helene. Based on the current forecast, you're not going to get the brunt of this storm, but you still could be seeing some gusts 40 miles per hour. Same issue with those trees that already been weakened. You have some additional higher gusts and some of these rain bands that come through could impact you. For the coast, Glenn, Camden, Nassau County, coastal surge is possible. I think more so for Nassau County, but yeah, some of these inlets could be seeing some coastal flooding. Storm plan, make sure you're ready for some power outages here, especially for those areas right along the Atlantic. And then we look off towards Duval, St. Johns, and Clay County. I think southern St. Johns, southern Clay County, gusts to 75 miles per hour plus is possible here. I wouldn't be surprised if you even go under some hurricane watches for Flagler County. So we're talking about down here towards the south. As we go through our day here on Sunday over towards Monday. I wouldn't be surprised those are issued, with the worst of that weather, of course, being Wednesday night through Thursday morning. So start those preps now. Clean up that debris after Helene. If you still got down tree limbs, try to secure that as best as you can. No, it's hard, but make sure we try our best here. Charge those batteries and be ready for power outages across all of the first coast. That is possible, of course, closer to that storm center and along the immediate coast is going to be a higher risk. And stay up to date on the latest forecast. Of course, you're watching this video and you've watched it several minutes up to now, so you're already doing the right thing. You're trying to stay prepared ahead of the storm, but make sure you continue to check back in at least twice a day, a few times a day, and then every other hour leading up to when this is going to be making landfall for the latest information so we can keep you posted. Stay safe and stay informed. Make sure you download the First Coast News app. We'll send you push notifications if there's any big changes to that forecast and any news latest on this storm system as it continues to strengthen off here towards our west. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta. Make sure you keep latest on firstcoastnews.com. And yeah, we'll keep you posted.